Hello everyone, I cordially welcome you all to another video from the Python tutorial series, and in this video we are going to learn about list and list methods in Python. So without any delay, let's get started. Before we learn about list, we must first understand what is a collection. So collections are mainly used to store multiple data together. By default, Python provides mainly 4 types of collections which are mainly used in the programming world. They are as follows: list, tuple, set, and dictionary. In this video, we will learn about list and the available methods in list which we can use in Python programming. Okay, let's go to the next slide. What is a list data structure? A list is a heterogeneous, ordered, and mutable collection in Python. It is one of the most widely used and versatile data structure in Python. The data inside the list is enclosed by a pair of square brackets. We can perform indexing, slicing, modification, duplication in a Python list. Now you must have a question in your mind: how do we do indexing, slicing, modifications and duplication in a Python list? In case of list data structure, there are few methods available which can help you to achieve this task. And in this video we will learn about those methods as well. So let's go to the next slide. We have done enough of theory as of now. Let's go to VS Code and understand about the list methods. Let's go. Welcome to VS Code. First of all, we are going to discuss how to create a list in Python. Basically, there are multiple ways by which we can create a list, but here I have shown the major 2 ways by which we can do it. First of all, we say variable a which equals, and then within a pair of square brackets, we write our data separated by a comma. List is basically a lot of data enclosed by a pair of square brackets. So when you write like this gets assigned to this variable a, and the type of variable a will be of type list. And when we print a, we will see the same data structure on our terminal. Okay. There is another way by which we do it, and this is using the list constructor. When you write a equal to list and then followed by a pair of parentheses, you basically invoke the list constructor, and that basically creates an empty list and assigns it to this variable a. And when we print a, we will see a pair of square brackets which has got nothing within it. Okay, that is an empty list. Let's run our code and see if it is working or not. If I run this code, you will see for the first print a, we are basically seeing this data structure on our terminal. It's exactly the same. But for the second case, we are seeing a blank pair of square brackets, because when the list constructor is invoked, it returns an empty list, and that empty list gets stored within this a variable. Okay, we are going to learn how to access list elements. So we have defined the list a which contains John Doe 34 a plus and true. So here basically you can say first name, last name, age, blood group, and is adult. Okay, so John Doe and a plus are basically of type string, 34 is basically of type int, and true is basically of type boolean. So basically there are ways by which you can access list elements. Okay, and here we are going to learn how do we do that. When I say complete list colon and print a, this will basically print the entire list on our terminal. Now one thing which you might know and you must learn if you don't know, that is indexing in list. So in Python list, indexing starts from 0 and goes to the last element, that is John has an index 0, Doe has an index 1, 34 has index 2, a plus has index 3, and true has index 4. So when I say print a0, this basically prints John. When I say print a1, this basically prints Doe. Print a3, that is of this a list, print the third index. So 0, 1, 2, 3. This will print a plus. Let's run our code and see what we are telling is correct or not. So if I run the code, you see the complete list is John Doe 34 a plus true. The first element, that is 0th index, contains John. First index contains Doe, second index contains 34, and the third index contains a plus. Okay, this is how we basically access list elements. Here you must learn one more thing, that negative indexing works in Python list. So if I go from left to right, it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. But if I go from right to left, it will be -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Okay. So if you go from left to right, it starts from 0. But if you go from right to left, that is you use negative indexing, it starts from -1. Okay. Let's go to the next example. In the next example, we are going to learn how to slice a list. So if you are not sure what is slicing, so basically if you contain a list data structure, you basically slice it and take out a part of it. That is a sublist, you can say. Okay, and how do we do that? Let's see. First of all, I have declared a list like this. So here we are basically calling the list constructor and passing the data which we want it to contain. And thereafter we print A. So this will print the entire list on the terminal. Now we are going to do indexing. So in case of indexing, you write like this. The name of the list followed by a pair of square brackets, then the starting index, ending index. But here remember one thing, the starting index is inclusive, but the ending index is exclusive in nature. Okay, that is if I assign A 1:3 to copy list, that means it will take items present in index 1 and index 2. It will not take items which are present in index 3. That is, it will tell Do and 34 to get assigned in this copy list, and then we print it. When you don't assign any starting index, it basically means you start from the first element and go up to the ending index minus one element. That is, when I say A within a pair of square brackets, and then 3, that means start from the first element and go up to the index 3 minus 1, that is 2. And we basically print it on the terminal. Now in case we don't write the ending index, that means start from the given index and go up to the last element in the list data structure. Okay. Finally, we are making use of negative indexing. Here we say start from -4 and go up to -1. So here, as I have said, -1, -2, -3, -4. So it will start from Do and go up to -2. That is Do 34A plus, because I have said the ending index is exclusive in nature. Okay. Let's run the code and see what we are telling is correct or not. So if I run the list, so see, first of all, we are seeing the entire list. When I say 1:3, that is, it will take index 1 and index 2. So we see Do and 34. When we don't specify any starting index and only specify the ending index, it will start from the 0th element, that is the first element, and go up to the ending index minus 1 element. So here I have said ends in 3. So it will go from 0, 1 and 2. So 0, 1 and 2 contains John, Doe and 34, and that is what we see on the terminal. When we don't specify any ending index, it basically starts from the starting index and goes up to the last element. So 0, 1, 2, it starts from 34 and prints up to the last element, that is true. Okay. Finally, we are making use of negative indexing. We say start from -4 and go up to -1. So when -1 is the ending index, it will go up to -2. That is Do 34 and A plus, because the last index is exclusive in nature. Okay. So I hope this is clear with you. Let's go to the next example. In the next example, we are going to see how we can change a given value in a list. So here we have again defined a list which contains John, Doe, 34, A plus and true, and assign it to A, and we finally print it. That we are already aware. Now suppose I want to change the surname. So from John Doe, I want to make it John Walker. So how will I do that? I will first specify the name of the list, that is A, followed by its index, that is 0, 1. Okay. And then I assign to it Walker. When I finally print it, I will see John Walker 34 A plus and true. Let's run the code and see if we are correct or not. So when I run the code, you see initially it was John Doe 34A plus true, but now it has become John Walker 34A plus and true. Okay, that is how by using indexing in Python list we can mutate the value present in a given position. Okay, let's go to the next example. In this example, we are going to learn how we can iterate over a given list in Python. Basically, when a list contains multiple elements, how we can iterate upon all those elements. So this is basically a pretty small example where we make use of the for loop in Python. So when I assign a list to this variable a, the a variable points to a memory space which contains this list data structure, which contains John Doe 34A plus and true. Then I say for I in a print I. Now this I iterator will start from John and iterate up to true and print all the value which is present within this list. Let's run the code and check. When I run the code, you see we are getting John Doe 34A plus and true. That is, the iterator is iterating upon all the elements in this Python list and printing it. This is pretty easy. So we basically simply make the use of for loops in Python to iterate upon the items present in a list. Okay, let's go to the next example. In this example, we are going to learn if we can check whether a given element is present in a Python list or not. So as you are already aware, this is list A which contains John Doe 34A plus and true. We are checking whether this John, this string is present in this Python list. So we write if John in A. So if this John string is present in this A list, we basically print John exists. So let's run the code and see whether John exists gets printed on the terminal or not. So when I run this code, you see John exists. But if I change the spelling and I again run this code, nothing will be printed because John's is not present. John is present. So when I say John and I again run this code, you will see John exists. So this is how we make use of membership operator to check if a given element is present within this list data structure. Okay, let's go to the next example. In this example, we are going to learn how we can add items within a Python list. So as I have said, Python lists are basically mutable in nature, and we basically make use of two list methods which helps us to mutate a Python list. The first one is append method. When you call this append method on any list, basically it enters the new item at the end of the list. So if I say a.append this big number will be inserted after true. Okay, but if you don't want this and you want to insert this big number somewhere in the middle, then you cannot make use of this append method. In that case, you must know about this insert method in the list. So when you say a.insert 2, this basically enters the number in the given index. So 2 is basically 0, 1, 2. So here 34 will be moved to the next index. In its place, this big number will be inserted. So if I here write print a and I write another print a over here, you will see what happens. Here, first of all, as I have called append, this big number got inserted at the end of the list. But when I say insert 2, so here 34 is not there in the index number 2. This big number has got inserted and 34 has taken the place of the next index. And the total length of the Python list has increased. Let's go to the next example. In the next example, we are going to learn how we can remove items from a Python list. So here we have basically a Python list which I have assigned to a variable a. The first method by which we can do it is using the remove method. So when we say a.remove true, this basically removes an item present in the list. So only use remove method in Python list when you want to remove an item from the Python list. But suppose you are not sure about the item, but you are sure about the index from where the value has to be removed. In that case, use this pop method. This pop method takes the index from where the item has to be removed. Okay. And there is another method known as clear. So this clear method basically clears the entire Python list. That is, it removes all the elements from the Python list. Okay. Let's go to the next example. In this example, we are going to learn how we can clone a list in Python. So here we have a list John Doe 34a plus and true, and that list has been assigned to this variable a. We say b equal to a dot copy and then we print b. So if I print b, we will see the same list on our terminal. Okay. Now here you might have a small doubt. What if we say b equal to a? Will not that work? Yes, that will also work, but b equal to a and b equal to a dot copy are basically different. When you say b equal to a, that basically means this list John Doe 34a plus true takes up a memory space where both a and b variables point to. Okay, so if you mutate the list using a reference variable, you will see when you will try to access the list using b, the list has mutated. Basically, a and b are not separate lists. They point to the same list in memory space. But when you say b equal to a dot copy, that means a dot copy creates a clone of that list and assigns it to b. And when you print b, you see the list. So here the output is same, but when you use a dot copy, an actual list is created where b refers to. Okay. Let's go to the next example. In this example, we are going to learn how we can join two lists. Here I have one list, John Doe 34a plus and true, and I have another number list which contains all the numbers from 1 to 9. And I want to combine both the list and store it in a. How do we achieve that? We have an extend method in Python list which helps us to do that. So if we want to join two lists and store it in a, we will call a.extend and pass the next list as the argument. And when we print a, we will see John Doe 34a plus true and then from 1 to 9. Let's run the code and see what we are telling is correct or not. So as you can see on my screen, from John to 9, that is both the lists have been combined. Okay. Let's go to the next example. In the second last example of this video, we are going to learn how to sort a list in Python. Suppose I have a list A which contains some random numbers, okay, and we want to sort this number. So how do we do that? We simply say a.sort. This basically in place sorts the items in the list, and when we print a, we will see all the items have been sorted in ascending order. Okay. But what if you want to sort the items in the list in descending order? In that case, you have to pass an argument reverse equal to true. When you pass it, all the items will be sorted but in descending order. Let's run the code and see the output. So when I run it, you will see from 0 to 34, then from 34 to 0. So this is how sorting works in Python list, and using .sort method of Python list, we can sort list items in both ascending and descending order. Okay. Let's go to the last example for today's video. In this example, we are going to learn if we have an item which is present in a Python list, how we can find its index. So here 34 is present in the second index, 0, 1, 2. But I want to print the index of this item within this list. So in those cases, we use .index method. We basically call this a list, that is the given list is the invoking object, .index, that is the index is the method of this list, and we basically pass the item for which we want to find the index. So when we write this code, we will see 2 on the terminal. So let's run the code and see. You are seeing 2 on the terminal because this 34 number is present at the second index of this Python list, 0, 1, 2. Okay. So I hope by now you are aware about the Python list and its methods. Okay. If you have any doubt, I will post the link of our blog in the description section below. You can go and check it out. Let's go back to our presentation. So I hope you found this video informative. In case you like the video, feel free to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel, as that will highly motivate us to bring more videos in future. For any queries, doubts, suggestions or feedbacks, feel free to post them in the comment section. We are going to reply. So thank you for now. See you in the next video. Bye.